My name is Darrell Holbrook. I'm the secretary here at the Letcher County Veterans Memorial Museum, and we'd just like to welcome you today. I'm going to be making a tour of the whole museum and try to update everything where that we've got new artifacts and new uniforms, that just so the public, like some of the people who are in the nursing homes and hospitals, they really can't come down and see what all we have in the museum now. So we'd like to update it just to keep the public in touch of what we have new and what we have from the other part. And what this museum is, Letcher County Veterans Memorial Museum. That means it belongs to Letcher County people. Therefore, we try to honor and we show any military piece that a family has that they would like for us to display, to show the public what their family member done while they was in the military. Okay, right here is a man that had the idea about wanting to start the Letcher County Museum. He is Ben Buster Taylor. He retired out of the military. This is his uniform that he actually wore in the military. And here is some of the, well, it's all of the places that he was at, and some of the places that he was in charge of and everything. He was in Korea, he was in Vietnam, and like I said, he retired out of there, and one day he had just like a dream that he would like to start something like this for the county. And this actually started over in the post office, the old Whitesburg post office building. Then we moved down here to our new building down here. But we want to thank him for starting it, and we want to try to keep it going. Buddy Grubb is the president now, and we're going to try to just keep it going as long as we can. Right here we have Harry M. Caudill. He was a lawyer here in Whitesburg, and he was in the military, and they named the Harry M. Caudill Library after him. Okay, here we have a few pictures of a few of us that went down to Hazard Veteran Center. We have a program which we call the HAVE program, which is Help a Veteran Every Day. You can go to any county court clerk's office and donate a quarter, $1, $100, whatever limit you would like to do for this program. And not only is for Hazard, the HAVE program, we have two other on the other side of the state that we also deal with. We have we buy different things during the year for them out of this. Sometimes if they need a big screen TV or something like that, we'll buy that out of that. And then also we have a HOPE program, and we take the money and have the Hazard Veteran Centers a big Christmas party every year. We always give them a big dinner, and we have the workers down there ask them what they would like for Christmas, and we purchase that for them. Of course, it's on a limited basis, and so we have them a big dinner, and Santa Claus is there, and we have just give them their presents, and we asked them what can we do, and Neil, he's a wonderful feller down there. He said that, well, this room that they made for the family to come down and be with and visit, and the indoor-outdoor carpet is like, you know, pretty bad, where people spilt stuff and things like that. So we went down there and looked it over, and we took them down a $7,000 check so they could, and had a wooden floor put down for them, the floating floor, we had it put down for them, and So we just try to help them all as much as we can, you know, and because at one time they helped us. Okay, here we have, back in World War II, the government give the wives and some of the mothers this plaque, well, it's a flag to hang in their window, and it had a blue star in the center, and the blue star represents for the family member that was in the military. So if you had two family members, they'd been two blue stars. You know, it all depends on how many that was in there. Then if one was killed in the military, then it would have a red star showing that, you know, they was killed in the military. Okay, here we have Sergeant Watts. He's the ROTC instructor up on LCC High School. This is some of the places that he was in, some of the plaques that he got, and he's in charge of ROTC up there. And then up here at the top is my dad, me and my brother. All three of us was in the military, and my dad and brother's passed away now, but that was us. This here is a 155 millimeter howitzer rocket holder, and we picked that up one day, and I thought that was pretty impressive, as that's what they hold them in. This year is Bill Hall the Second, and he retired out of the service as a full bird colonel. His dad was Bill Hall. He was ROT instructor for a long time here, recruiter, I'm sorry. And he's the one that owned the gas station going right out of town here. And this was his uniform that he wore while he was in there. This one here is Larry Everidge's uniform. He done at Everidge Funeral Home. He was in Vietnam, and that was a uniform that he wore. Now here we have Miss Levy. She was from up here at Payne Gap, and she was in the Allison Jones Levy, I'll get it. And she's from up here at Payne Gap, and she's in the medical department of the Navy, and she came in last year and brought her plaques and pictures and everything, and she was over in South Korea, and she got a picture here of us, and she brought us where you could see the DMZ from where she was at, and she got a part of the road named after her up there at Payne Gap, and we're proud to honor that. Okay, here we have a new piece that we just got in about a month ago. This is called a soldier's cross, or a battlefield cross, or a battle cross, and it is honoring all five of the military, the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, Coast Guard. And this was purchased by the Letcher County Physical Court and the Tourism Committee 2 years ago. And we just now received it. They paid for it 2 years ago, but we just now got it. So we're very proud about that. And here, more detail about it is when a soldier is killed in battle, they will take his boots, his M16, and his helmet, and they will put it down at the head of his body, and sometimes they'll hang the dog tag with it. But of course they won't do this out in the battlefield because they won't leave no M16 out there. When they bring them into base camp to make sure that they identify them, this is how they do that. And the boots on here represents that it was his last march. And if he was a paratrooper, they would put a green beret on there to let everybody know it was his last jump. Also, what this is made out of is from this part up is solid bronze, and it weighs 300 pounds. And then the bottom is made out of solid black granite, and it weighs 1,100 pounds, so it's a total of 1,400 pounds this is. So we had to have a crew go underneath our floor and block it all the way up to the floor to make sure we had enough support that it wouldn't fall through. So we're very proud of that, and we thank them for purchasing this for us and letting us have it. Okay, here's a couple artifacts that belong to my dad that I'd like to show. This was his canteen cup that he carried with him, and on here he had took a knife and scribed on all the places that he went to, and here is his name, Darrell Holbrook, and here is Mom's name, Blanche Holbrook, and it's got America here on top, and it's got his serial number that he was in the service, and it was 1943. And he was in Scotland, Africa, Italy, Sicily, England, France, Belgium, and Germany. So he took his knife and scribed on there all the places that he had went to. And this is called a Bible for Victory hardcover, and it's the New Testament and Catholic prayer book. And this was given to my dad, mailed to him in 1943 from his oldest sister. And what this represents, on the front it says, "May this comfort you." And this is made out of metal with the copper on the top of it, so it won't rust. And you carry this in your pocket, your coat pocket, and if you ever shot, like in the heart, this is supposed to help deter the bullet to keep from it, killing you. Okay, this is a rocket launcher for a 66 millimeter anti-tank, and it'll work minus 40 degrees to plus 140 degrees. And all that's simple is you just pull this little pin back here, and this pops off, and then all you have to do is pull it out, and then it's ready to fire. And once you use it, you throw it away. It's a one-time use. And here we have a lamp that Ben Buster had made while he was in there. And this here is a 7.62 rifle shell. This is a tank shell. These are grenades. And I really don't know the caliber of that one, but this is a lamp that he had made out of all different type of artifacts that we use. And this is some World War II emergency coinage collection that they done in the war. And up here is 3 pennies made in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. They're lead pennies or zinc pennies. Back then they stopped making copper in '43 because they needed it for the ammunition, so they came out with that for that penny there. That's the only year they made them, and that belonged to James Majority. And this is a picture of him in his autobiography there. This here is some of the medals and ribbons that Kermit Lucas is who this belongs to. He used to have a store right over here, and he received a Bronze Star Medal, and he was in World War II, and he was a sergeant in the Army. This over here is some of Ben Buster's pens and money and stuff that he had, and some of this stuff he had captured. These here was off like there, and that's a picture of Ho Chi Minh. That was a lighter, and that's a wild boar's teeth, and just some of them was artifacts that he got while he was over there in Vietnam. And this is his medals and ranks. Over here is where he was in, some of his patches, and the medals and challenge coins that he received. This uniform here belongs to Buddy Grubb. He's the president of the museum at this time. Him and Ben Buster is the one that started this museum, and this was he was a specialist for in the Army, and this bazooka you see back here beside of him, that's what he actually carried, and what he done, his main part in the military was to operate that. Now this here is actually uniform that Esther Craft worn in World War I. She was in the Navy, and her husband was John Craft, and he was in the Army. He was a sergeant in the Army, and when they got out of the service, they came to Fleming Neon, and they opened up the first Craft department store, and then they changed it down to Weisberg Craft department store. Okay, here we have in our display case some of the medals and some of the bumper stickers and hats. That was some of the people that were on the ships in the Navy, and then we have up here is a flag that Sergeant John Matthews had give us, and he went to Afghanistan. He was Kandahar, Afghanistan, and that flag flew over the Count Palomo over there, and he brought it back for us, and we had it framed in memory of him. This right here is one of the first bulletproof vests. I'd say it weighs 100 pounds at least. You can see it's made out of pure metal, and the front and back both is the same. But now I sure wouldn't want to have to be the first one to wear them. Okay, here we wanted to show you some of the weapons that we have, and what it is. These are oversized weapons just for instructor person only. And what it is he can, all of these are actually working weapons, but they don't fire, of course, where they're so big. And what I mean by that is, like for this, that you can still ratchet and everything. It's a 30 caliber machine gun, and this was, they were made like the instructor can take off a piece and hold it up, and the whole 100 people could see this, and then they could take their small piece off, is what it is. So that's why all these weapons that we're going to show you now are such big weapons. This weapon here is a M79 grenade launcher. There's only two of these in the United States that I'm aware of. We have one, there's one in New York, and that's a very good piece of artillery to have while you're out in the field. This here is the M16, It came out in Vietnam. That's what they used over there, we used. And then the next one is the M1 Grand, and that was in World War II. That was a rifle of all the times at that time. And the other one is the BAR. It's a Browning automatic rifle. He invented it and they named it after him. So that was the weapons that we have at the time. Okay, this is Second Lieutenant Vernon Sexton's. Belonged to him. He was killed in Lutitlo, Italy. And what it was, there was such a massive killing over there, they buried him over there just like Arlington National Cemetery. In other words, there was so many, and they sent the paperwork and things home to let them know what plot and what gravesite, exactly where it was at if they wanted to come and see them, where they was buried at, or they would have sent them home, but the family requested for them to be buried there. And they asked us, did we want to display his things, and of course we took them, and when we opened up the footlocker, there's the 48 star flag that they had, and because Hawaii and Alaska wasn't a state back then. Right here we have one of our well-known figures in Letcher County is Seaman Lloyd Brown. He had Dry Fort Market out here for years and years out here, and he was in the Navy, and he was in the USS Idaho, and they took this picture from the Idaho on the USS Mississippi being attacked by the Japanese. So it's a bad situation when you're out on the water and you see that, and you don't know if they're coming to you next or whatever, but apparently they made it back all right. And his daughter just brought me this shirt here when we had the Veterans Museum the other day, and so I want to display that, and we're proud to have that. Okay, here we have some of the artifacts that we used in military. We got different styles of hats that was worn at different times, and the belts. This was the canteen that we had. So that's like my dad's there, and it was so noisy at one time. I'll show you the difference. And this right here is called a P38. That's what you open your sea rations with. If you didn't have one of them, your buddy wouldn't let you use his, you didn't eat. And this here is some of the old legging wrapping at World War II. They'd wrap around their legs to help keep them warm in the winter. And this is the United States military helmet, and this is a German helmet. Somebody captured and brought it in for us. And here's what I was talking about. They went to the plastic so that it would be a lot quieter. And I tell everybody this was one of the first cell phones that we had back then. So that's how they communicated with each other. And right here's some of the sea rations I was talking about. If you didn't have a P38, you couldn't eat. Like this is a pound cake, and this is cheese. And if you didn't have something to open them with, these here is a new stuff called Meals Ready to Eat. And these here are British helmets. And right here is what they give us first. It's your knife, fork, and spoon, dinner plate and everything. That was made out of stainless steel. That way when you got done, you could go to any little water hole and just wrench them out, and stainless steel, they just come right out like that. Cleaned up pretty easy. This year is one of the old first aid kits that we had. That represents your tourniquet. And here's your scalpel. So that's pretty old and come in efficient at some time. Here, Rick, we have a complete parachute. We have it on her, but it's so heavy and we have to support her against the wall there. This is the cord that you pull, and once you pull that, it deploys, and you got, but this is actual. I can't get it out to show you the back of it, but it's an actual parachute ready to go. This right here, Rick, is a mortar, and this is actual mortar itself. It's got the powder in here, the firing pins down here, and everybody's seen them that watch these war movies. They just throw them in there and it shoots out. And what's so special about this, when you see where it hits, you can crank it up or down real fast, and you can move it left to right real fast, and you can zero it in just about right on top of it. So this is a really amazing piece of equipment right here. This Marine uniform here was worn by Charles Isaac. He's from up here at Mayking, and his son joined the Marines, and he took the same uniform that his dad wore and tapered it down to fit him, so both father and son wore the same uniform in the military. Let me get this. Okay, here, Rick, we have Major Jeff Hogg. He's a United States Air Force mess dress formal uniform. And this is, he's from over here at Kings Creek, and he served from 1977 to 1997. And he was at Pease Air Force Base in New Hampshire, Holston Air Force Base in Korea, Elgin Air Force Base in Florida, K.I. Sawyer Air Force Base in Michigan. He was in Germany, Japan, Idaho. He got the Defense Medal, Korean Defense Medal, Good Conduct Medal, Achievement Medal, Commendation Medal, and Meritorious Service Medal. So he done a good job for our country. Okay, here we have Miss Shelby Prophet. She was in the military, civilian in the military. And she was awarded so much that she's originally from down here at Little Collie. She went to Whitesburg High School, and she went to further herself into college, and she got her PhD degree in chemistry, and that's how she got in the military. And when they started the Scud missile attack over in Iraq, the first Bush did, she patented the Patriot missile that took the Scud missiles down, so they put her in charge of the national missile defense. And then when they started the outer space program with the satellites, they put her in charge of the Army Tactical Surveillance System. And then she got into NASA up there and got that done. Okay, up here, after this, she got into the NASA, the space program up there, and this is one of the generals that was with her. And so all of this is some little old lady out of some little old holler that wanted to make something out of herself, and has accomplished this. And she came back here, I think it was either last year or year before last, to get married. And they was going to get married at the Graham Presbyterian Church, but one of her relatives died. She getting married on Saturday, and it happened on Friday, so she had to leave. So I don't know if she ever had time for a man or what it was, but she's done an incredible job for this country. Here's a couple local heroes, that Vadis Carnett and Hillard Holcomb. And we was asked to come over there with the judge and honor them. I'm afraid to say their age, so I just call them two young men that served in World War II. So we're proud of them. Okay, here we have a few of the people I'd like to point out here. This is Robert Holbrook. He lived right outside of town here, going up the hill there. This is Cecil Holbrook. He was in the service. He lived up at Payne Gap. This here is Sergeant Reuben Watts. He was in World War II, and he was in the Battery B, 168th Field Artillery Battalion, and he served in the Pacific Theater with 2 Bronze Stars. And he was a Letcher County Sheriff at one time, and the Letcher County Judge Executive at one time. He got 2 Purple Hearts while he was in there. This here is Joe Reynolds. He had the Reynolds Furniture right outside of town here on the way out, and he served as an honor guard for President Roosevelt's funeral. This here is the actual copy. You can see the yellowing of the paper. Whenever you see that, you know it's an old documentation or document that was from way back. This is the actual signing of the surrender of Japan back in World War II. And it's signed by all. There's Douglas MacArthur, and then it's got all the names of were United Kingdom, and everybody that was involved with it, they had to sign it to show the ending of the war. So we just lucky to get a copy of this here. We're proud of. And if you want to work your way up a little bit, these people in the military today that's got the brick barracks and the heat and all that and everything, you can see that this is the way they used to have to do it out in the field. This was where how they made their camps. Right here, I was talking about Esther Craft that was in the Navy. This is a picture of her and her husband John Craft that they started the Neon Craft department store up there. And then over here, as you can see, this was the bridge down at Whitco, the old metal bridge. Most of the people don't remember it there, but that was a 1-lane bridge made down there. And this is some of the people that was in the World War I in Germany and France. And that was Denver Richmond and Melvin Cornett, Lawrence Maggard, and J.D. Maggard. So J.D. Maggard had the store across Pine Mountain over there at the Yoli. And here's World War I pictures of Matt Caudle, Avery Caudle, Delmer Richmond, Willie Collins, and Melvin Cornett. And that's them down here. Okay, here we have a wall, which in Vietnam, where a lot of the soldiers came through and everything, was called Benoit. And because we have so much photographs and things that been done and everything, Ben Buster, we call this the Ben Wall. So Ben was in the military and retired out like we talked before, but he also was the pallbearer honor guard for President John F. Kennedy. This is him right here walking by the caisson, and that was an honor to be there. This is one division he was in also. And then over here is where he was in Vietnam. General Westmoreland came over and where he was stationed at and gave him a talk and everything. And this is him back, when he was in the Green Beret and all that and everything. And then this is just some more. This is over over in Vietnam, and where he camped at over there. And this is some of the bunkers that we had. And this is them working with the Vietnamese soldiers here. And this is General Westmoreland here. And back in here is some of the that's what we had our houses and everything for the military, for the bunkers like, that's the best we could do with what we had. And you can see here how it was set up, the camp was and everything. And right here, this was our POW stockade. In other words, this was our prison where we put our POWs in. As we capture them, we'd put them in here and keep them until they came and got them and moved them to a different location. And Ben Buster was a sheriff of Letcher County Sheriff for 8 years, and this was there, and this where they awarded him up there. He got a congressional thing from the state of Kentucky, and they paying a tribute to him, and it come out of Washington, D.C., out of Congress. This here is a Joe Bates from up here at Seco. I'm sorry, up here at Millstone. Joe Bates is from Millstone. Him and Ben was real good friends. And he was a deep sea diver in the Navy. And it's called the old hard hat diver. We've seen a lot of our pictures in the war where they use these big suits to dive in and everything. This is actually him when he was in the military. And he sent us this little joke saying this was him after he retired out of the Navy. But this is some of his artifacts that he sent us that he collected during the time. Of course, this is your port window. And he was a Korean and Vietnam veteran. And this was his son. I think he said he set the record at 837 feet deep with this. And this is his son. He joined the Navy, and when he came out with the frog fins and frog suit and the tanks and everything, this was his son under the water there. Also, I have a copy of Eddie Nichols. He wrote this book from up here at Macon, Marine Corps draftee. And I think he's got them for sale, but this is a real interesting book that a little old hometown boy wrote about his life while he was in the military. Okay, here, Rick, is the new edition I was talking about that we have got since the last time we made a film. We have a lot of the pictures that the families have sent in, a lot of uniforms, and we have, and plaques, and this is a real good addition for us. And we've got our Confederate and Northern uniforms in here, the Union, and we just got all the difference, in the military, and we'll show you a few of them individual as we go by. Okay, this is the actual signing of the Declaration of Independence. I was talking about the yellering of the paper before and everything. This was a recopy of this by Coca-Cola Company in 1943. And it was given to us to hang on the wall by a friend of mine. And it's got all the ones that signed it. I was there, John Hancock and everything that shows here where we was separated. England gave us a permission to have 13 states, and which would be called the United States of America. Okay, here we have Colonel Ben Cottle. He was the Confederate officer in charge of here, and his unit was stationed right down here at Whitco, and this is Sons of the Confederate Veterans. They still have the show of how, what happened and everything, and they are the ones that fires our cannon for us at our ceremonies, and we want to thank them so much for a job they do. This here is some of the belt buckles that they wore back then. You can see it says CSA, which is Confederate States of America before the United States. And this is the actual flag that they used back then. and this is a Union outfit that was worn back then, and there was a battalion that was stationed that started over in Harlan and Union, and this was the Confederate. So you see, we had that close and fighting each other, and that's when they was saying that father against son and son against father and brother against brother, because they had such close. And down here we have an actual cannonball that was plowed up over on one of the farms over on Cowan, and so we're happy to have that. And then over here we have an actual Confederate saddle that was used in the war, and see, we got the benchmark on it and everything, showing what size and everything. Okay, here we have Bill Frazier, they call him Bill. He was in the USS Coast Guard, and this is some of the photographs and things that he had brought back, and everything. You see some of the pictures that he was actually on, some of them, and this is a good setup by the Coast Guard that we have. Here, Rick, we have Chief Petty Officer Bates. He's a master diver. He's the one I was talking about with the out front we had with the display case and everything. This was his uniform, and he got a job after he retired out of the Navy working on offshore well drilling, and they fly everybody in and out every day with a helicopter, and one day it flew everybody in, and it killed everybody but him, and it decapitated one of his legs. But he's still down in Louisiana, and he's doing okay. This year, I don't know who these are, but someone brought these in. This is a dress uniform for the Navy, man and woman, and so that's why we ask them when people bring some in to give us a little thing about them, so we know who they are. This is Bera Hale, her uniform. She used to be married to George Hale that passed away. They had the greenhouses up there at Mayking there for a long time. That's her uniform. This is Mark Sexton. It's Steve and Carol Sexton's son from up here at Thornton. He taught school up here at Whitesburg High School. He was my teacher. I hate to tell him that. But and this is Edgar Wilson. He's a United States Navy retired. He served in the South Pacific during World War II, and he was in 3 battles. And he's wounded in the 3rd battle and received the Purple Heart. He served in the Korean War, and he was 6 years aboard the USS Newport News, and he served in Vietnam and retired with 30 years of service. The gold stripes on the uniform is good conduct and good service record. Okay, here we have Margie Miller. She's from up here at Bottom Fort, and she graduated from Whitesburg High School, and she was in the military, I think, for 5 years, and she was in the medical field of that. This year is Shenandoah Strange. They called him Shannon Strange, and he's from up here at Neon. His dad, Darrell Strange, and he was in the West Point. He went to West Point. He was a West Point cadet. This is his uniform that he wore there. This is my nephew's uniform, Chad Gillum, and he was died in Kuwait about 2 years ago, and his dad and mom is Paul Gillum and Mary Gillum, and Paul is my brother-in-law. I married his sister. Okay, we finally got to yours truly here. This was my uniform back then. I had to move mine in here because me and Buddy both was in there, and we know how bad they'd argue after we leave who was the best looking, and he knows I was because he said I wouldn't put the pillar in there like I look now, so that was the reason why. But no, I was in Vietnam, and We supported the 101st Airborne Division, 173rd Airborne Division, and 224th Aviation is what we done over there. And I spent 1 year over in Vietnam, 67, 68, and 1 year at Fort Knox. This person here is Jimmy Duncan, James Duncan. He joined the military, was sent to Korea, and went back to Germany, I think, for a little bit, and they sent him back to Korea. And as soon as he got over there, he was in the Chosin Reservoir, and he got captured, and he spent 32 months captivity as a prisoner of war. And you can just imagine not being able to know if he's going to get anything to eat, drink, or come home, or where you was going to be the next day, or where you're going to be able to lay your head that night. People don't think about that, but that's got to be, unless you've been there and done that, you would have no idea. Your mom and dad don't know anything about it, you're alive or whatever, but when he was over there, he lost all of his toes on one foot. And he told me after a while that the Koreans couldn't feed him anymore, so they turned him over to the Chinese. And he said the Chinese treated them miraculously better than the Koreans did. Okay, here we have Mabel Mullins. She was in World War I over, and she was in the medical field over there. She was a major, and she from Oviedo, and she lived to be 97 years old. I'm sorry, she was in World War II. I'm sorry. And she's a remarkable woman. Okay, this is Pascal Fields' uniform. He was in World War II. He had the gas station right outside of town here. And this was his uniform. It's a wool uniform. And this is what they call the old brown uniform. He had a brown hat, brown belt, brown boots. And he was PFC in World War II. This right here is called a ruptured duct. That's what they issued all the ones that was in World War II when the war was over. Now this here is Curtis Holbrook. He's from up here at Mayking. He was in the Aleutian Islands, and Richard Brown with the Sons of the Confederate done an article about the Aleutian Islands. A lot of people didn't even know we owned the Aleutian Islands, let alone was attacked it. And he was sent up there. This is his actual uniform he wore. This is he was an MP up there. And these gloves, these are mittens, and I don't know what they're made out of, but it looks like either beaver or mink or something like that. But that's the actual mittens that they wore up there. And his boy lives in Australia now, and he's the only one living in their family. Okay, here we have his rank ended up being Major Ralph Webb. His son sent all this to us, and we were very proud to have it. He was in the Air Force. This was his flight suit, and we received all this, and this is what he wore in there, and this is one of the planes that he started flying with, and they promoted him to a lieutenant here, and he worked in the Air Transport Command in the 128th Air Force, and flying fuelers they were, and then they promoted him to a captain, and they put him in charge of fueling the planes, and this is what he flew to fuel the jets and other planes that needed it. And then they promoted him to major, and he was in he was a straddle tanker, is what they're called, and he was in charge of the Strategic Air Command, and this was him at the time that he retired. And this is his uniform when he was a captain. And what is odd about this was his dad Captain Webb's dad was named Nehemiah Webb, and he's the one that started the first Mountain Eagle. Okay, this is Lieutenant Colonel Burt Francis. He graduated from Weisberg High School in 1955 and went to Vietnam in 66, 67, and he retired out of the Marine Corps, and he was responsible for coordinating activities of 14 artillery fire bases in the Da Nang and tactical area of responsibility as a battalion executive officer. And he retired out of the Marines, like I said, and he lives in Richmond now, doing good. And this is James M. Caldwell II. His dad was James M. Caldwell, the judge of county judge of Letcher County at one time, and in 50 through 54 he was in the Kentucky National Guard, and he earned rank E1 through E7. And 54 he graduated from Eastern Kentucky and received a 2nd Lieutenant Army, and he was in the 11th Airborne Division, and he ended up being the commander of 309th and the 52nd Aviation Battalion, and he's a Master Army Aviator, and combat flying hours of 339 hours of flying time. And total Army flying hours was 5,681. So we really appreciate him letting us have this to display this. This is Otto Hart Jr., and he's born in 1922 and raised in Letcher County. And he come from a hard-working Irish farmers who came to America because of the potato famine. He graduated from Weisberg High School at the age of 16, and he immediately enlisted in the military. When the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, his brother-in-law went down on the ship Arizona. His brother Newt also served 20 years in the Air Force. His sister Louisa, not to be outdone, served in the WAC. Another brother, J. Hugh, killed fighting in Africa, so it was a patriotic family. When World War II broke out on the military, one of the officers called out, "Does anybody know how to use a rifle?" And old Otto shyly answered, being used to killing varmints around the barn and everything, he said, so he tossed him a rifle, and that was his job after that, you know. So he was, you know, his wife sent us all this for him and everything, and he's from up here at Thornton, and we appreciate that. Okay, we just want to thank everybody that's going to be seeing this, and we hope they enjoyed what little I went over with. It would take hours to complete the whole thing and explain about all the uniforms and all the plaques and things that we got. We do tours anytime anybody wants them. Our museum hours is changed right now for the winter. It is Wednesday through Saturday from 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock. And my number is area 606-855-4726, and my cell phone is 634-4326. And if you want to give us a call and set up something, we will appreciate it. We appreciate the government channel, Rick Hall, for coming down and doing this interview, and we thank the Letcher County Physical Court and for being able to sponsor this, and we hope you all enjoy it. Thank you very much.